What happens when the idol you admire most faces a health crisis that threatens to derail his life and career? For fans of BTS's Jungkook, the answer is nothing short of devastating. Just days after returning to military training following a brief recovery period, Jungkook has once again collapsed during a routine exercise, leaving the army community in a state of shock and despair. Why does this keep happening? Is Jungkook's body trying to tell us something? And most importantly, will he ever be able to complete his mandatory military service? The story begins with a sense of hope and determination. Jungkook, who had previously been hospitalized due to health complications, had recently returned to his military duties. Fans were relieved to see him back in action, believing that his recovery was on track. But in a shocking turn of events, Jungkook collapsed during a training session, experiencing severe vomiting before losing consciousness. Fellow soldiers and medical staff rushed to his aid, and he was immediately transported to a nearby hospital. The incident has sparked a wave of speculation and concern among fans and military officials alike. While initial reports suggested that Jungkook's return to duty was approved by medical professionals, his sudden collapse has raised questions about whether he was truly ready to resume such physically demanding activities. Was this a case of pushing too hard too soon? Or are there underlying health issues that have yet to be addressed? What we do know is this: Jungkook's journey through mandatory military service has been anything but smooth. His first hospitalization, which occurred just months ago, was a wake-up call for everyone involved. Doctors had warned that his body needed time to heal, but the pressure to fulfill his military obligations may have overshadowed those concerns. Now, as Jungkook lies in a hospital bed once again, the world is left wondering, will he ever be able to complete his military service? Or is this the beginning of a new uncertain chapter in his life? The shocking news of Jungkook's collapse first broke on a quiet Tuesday morning, sending shockwaves through the army community. Initial reports were vague, citing only that Jungkook had experienced a medical episode during a training exercise. But as the hours passed, more details began to emerge, painting a grim picture of the situation. It all started with Jungkook's return to military training. After being hospitalized earlier this year due to health complications, Jungkook had been given the green light to resume his duties. Fans were relieved to see him back in action, believing that his recovery was on track. But the optimism was short-lived. Just days after his return, Jungkook collapsed during a routine training session. Witnesses described the scene as chaotic, with Jungkook suddenly vomiting before losing consciousness. Fellow soldiers and medical staff rushed to his aid, and he was immediately transported to a nearby hospital, where he remains under close observation. The incident has sparked a wave of speculation and concern among fans and military officials alike. While initial reports suggested that Jungkook's return to duty was approved by medical professionals, his sudden collapse has raised questions about whether he was truly ready to resume such physically demanding activities. Was this a case of pushing too hard too soon? Or are there underlying health issues that have yet to be addressed? What we do know is this: Jungkook's journey through mandatory military service has been anything but smooth. His first hospitalization, which occurred just months ago, was a wake-up call for everyone involved. Doctors had warned that his body needed time to heal, but the pressure to fulfill his military obligations may have overshadowed those concerns. Now, as Jungkook lies in a hospital bed once again, the world is left wondering, will he ever be able to complete his military service? Or is this the beginning of a new uncertain chapter in his life? The emotional toll of Jungkook's collapse cannot be overstated. For fans, the news has been nothing short of devastating. Jungkook is not just a performer. He is a source of inspiration, joy, and comfort for millions around the world. The thought of him suffering is almost too much to bear. Social media has been flooded with heartfelt messages from fans, many of whom have shared personal stories of how Jungkook and BTS have impacted their lives. "Jungkook's music got me through some of my darkest days," one fan wrote. "Now it's our turn to be there for him." The BTS members themselves have remained relatively quiet, likely out of respect for Jungkook's privacy. However, insiders suggest that they are deeply affected by the situation and are doing everything in their power to support their bandmate. Jungkook's family has also been by his side throughout the ordeal, providing the love and support he needs during this challenging time. Their presence has been a source of comfort for fans, who take solace in knowing that Jungkook is surrounded by people who care deeply for him. As the world continues to follow Jungkook's journey, one thing is clear: the road ahead will not be easy. But if there's one thing the army knows, it's that Jungkook is a fighter. He has faced challenges before and emerged stronger each time. The hope is that this time will be no different. With the best medical care in the world and the unwavering support of his fans, family, and bandmates, Jungkook has everything he needs to overcome this hurdle. But the question remains, will he? Only time will tell. For now, the world watches, waits, and prays for the day when Jungkook can once again grace the stage with his presence, his voice, and his unforgettable smile. Jungkook's collapse is a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the unexpected challenges that can arise at any moment. But it is also a story of hope, resilience, and the power of love. As the army continues to rally behind their beloved idol, one thing is certain: Jungkook is not alone in this fight. He has the support of millions around the world, all of whom are rooting for his recovery. The road ahead may be long and uncertain, but if there's one thing we know about Jungkook, it's that he is a fighter. And with the love and support of his fans, family, and bandmates, there is no doubt that he will emerge from this ordeal stronger than ever. So, as we continue to follow this developing story, let us hold on to hope. Let us believe in the power of love, resilience, and the human spirit. And let us pray for the day when Jungkook can once again light up the world with his presence. Until then, we wait, we hope, and we believe. Because if there's one thing the army knows, it's that Jungkook is worth fighting for. Did anyone see it coming? Could anyone have predicted that just days after his highly anticipated return to military duty, Jungkook would suddenly collapse in the middle of a training session? Could this have been prevented? Or was it inevitable? In a moment that left his fellow soldiers and superiors in shock, Jungkook, BTS's golden magne, known for his endurance and strength, was seen vomiting uncontrollably before falling unconscious on the training grounds. Gasps echoed across the field as medics rushed to his aid. His pulse was weak. His breathing was shallow. And for a brief, terrifying moment, there was complete silence. But what led to this? Was Jungkook truly ready to return? Or had he been pushing himself too hard too soon? It was meant to be a triumphant return. After weeks of intensive treatment in New York City, where he had been under strict medical supervision, Jungkook had finally been deemed fit to return to service. His fans had waited anxiously, wondering if he would ever step back into his military role. And when the news broke that he was heading back to camp, armies across the world breathed a sigh of relief. But was he really okay? Behind the scenes, sources close to the situation revealed that Jungkook's recovery was still ongoing. Though his condition had improved, doctors had warned him to take it slow, avoid extreme exertion, and prioritize his health. Yet, true to his nature, Jungkook was determined. He had never been one to back down from a challenge. He wanted to prove that he could handle it, that he was strong enough to return. And so, when he arrived back at his military division, he greeted his fellow soldiers with his usual bright smile, assuring everyone that he was fine.